Hey everyone, welcome to another episode. For this episode, I want to talk a bit about when you hit an art block and we kind of don't know what to paint or where to take ideas from. I want to share some things I find helpful and different ways to still keep being creative and try to come up with ideas for your paintings. These are things that I found helpful throughout my journey as an artist, and I hope it can help you as well. So let's just jump into it, shall we? So again, there's many different ways you can do it. For this case, I used this website for writers to help spark ideas for them, and it generates like a sentence where it kind of just gets you going. And I tried a few of them, and I really liked this one. It was so cool, and I could totally get a lot of ideas from it. What I first did, I just sketched the character sitting at a kitchen table, just looking through her photos and thinking about different memories. And I thought a memory I would really be fond of would be, imagine you're at the Greek coast side, the water's more see-through, you're just laying in the water and just relaxing. I love water, and I thought it'd be a really fun memory to paint, and imagine it for the character, it would be a very fun memory for them as well. So that was kind of the inspiration to get the whole thing started. And now, since we have the idea, I kind of just want to start painting it. I also wanted to pick a perspective where we're kind of looking down on it, you know. It's a very different perspective from what I usually do, but we're kind of looking down because I really want to capture the vastness of the water around her and really sell that calm feeling. And especially when I wanted to paint the water a bit see-through, I thought it'd be pretty cool if you can see it from above as well. And this is actually my favorite part when you do paintings like these. Since we're doing like the bottom ocean floor first, I'm starting super abstract, and I really love this stage because it's pretty rare. I find that you can just be super crazy and loose with your work. But doing paintings like these with the subject matter, I can just really go crazy with my brushstrokes, and I love it. I also added a layer on top to kind of like add a bit more ocean feel to it, that more greenish kind of tint, slightly more towards bluish, and just keep going over it a few times to generally just get the shapes down. I'm also trying to get the very simple indication of rocks as well. Keep in mind, this is underwater. Things aren't going to be that clear. We're going to blur it a bit later with some adjustment layer on top to kind of give it more like water ripple effect. So we just want to give the hints of things, but we don't want to go too deep on it. I want to save the focus area to the boat which is in and the character itself. And that's important for this painting. And the way I want to think about this drawing as well, it's essentially going to be 3 layers. So you're going to have the top layer where the girl is going to be at, and the boat itself is be on the surface. And then we're going to have second layer where the water is really touching the surface and the things slightly below it. We're going to add some tiny fishes as well, and some tiny details here and there, like highlights on the water edge. And at the bottom, we're going to have the water edge, the water bed, where the rocks, the sand, all of that is there. So it's not very deep. We see, and also the water is see-through, so we're going to see all the way through the bottom. I was thinking about it like that in the painting. I'm also trying to add some slightly different hues to the rock to kind of give them a slightly different feel. A bit of yellow oranges and a tiny bit of brown. I kept going back and forth on the boat as well a few times to get the colors to work. And adding the shadow, straight away when you add the shadow in the scene, it feels much more three-dimensional. It felt pretty flat without it. But something I planned in the sketch stage as well, where I wanted to do the shadow. And also, since we're not going too deep in the ocean, so we're actually going to be able to see it, because when you think of boats, usually far out in the ocean, and if it's not so see-through, you're probably not going to see shadow in the water, on the water ground itself. You just see at the rim of the water edge. And we're still adding a bit more textures and details here and there. We're getting close to a stage where I decided to flatten the water section and add, with filter settings, slightly ripple effect to it. And mixing that with blur and ripple, I feel like gives a pretty good feel of what the water surface would be like. And it also take away the focus from the hard shapes of the character and the boat, to create some more contrast between the two. So as always for me, whenever I feel comfortable with the background, that's when I feel comfortable to move into the foreground element, the area of focus, and just really start sculpting out and carving out the shapes of the boat and the form. I accidentally flattened the line drawing layer with the character and the boat. It was supposed to be a separate layer. It was a mistake, so I ended up having to do some extra work cleaning that up. But it's no problem, it just took a bit of extra time to do it. And I'm also trying to stay consistent with the light source that I have in the image. I want some part of the character to be above the water and some of it to be below, because she is floating, but I ended up playing with a few versions where I was submerging a bit more and bringing more up also. I also played with a few varieties of color of her swimsuit just to make sure that it popped, because she's so small in the scene, and as I kept zooming in and out, I kept looking at like what ways could I really make her pop. In the end, I ended up moving her a bit more into the shadow of the boat. Because she's so light, it ended up creating more contrast. She's popping out even more in the image itself. But also, sometimes even though you have a prompt or a brief of what to paint, it can still be hard to think of an idea. If you run into that problem, what I would encourage you is try to do some studies. Something I try to do every single day. It could be whatever study you feel like that could help you in your current struggle. If it's brushwork, if it's material rendering, try to target the study towards that. But it's always one way, at least you keep painting, even though you don't have to come up with something original. And I really enjoy studies. It's pretty relaxing. And, sometimes we just want to kind of like just relax and paint for fun and not have to think too hard. I enjoy doing studies. So something I also recommend to you if you feel like coming up with prompts like this isn't really helping. One thing I also did a few years back, I made a challenge to do a sketch every single day to keep being productive and keep trying new things, because I think that's how we really grow as artists. And I put together an art book with all of this, and it's for free to download. I'll put the link in the description below. I did a sketch every single day for a year, and doing that really helped me to every time try to think of new ideas or what to come up to paint with, even though you might be pretty dry on ideas of what to paint, because it became a constant thing I had to do every day. I actively searched out ways of finding ideas that I want to paint. To a degree that now I start to store a few ideas of things I really like and things I want to paint in the future. I just write down the description, what I was thinking, kind of color and the thematic, and just save it for future paintings that I want to do. And it's a habit I also encourage you to give a try. And this is the final painting inspired by the prompt. I had so much fun painting this. I'll put a link in the description for the website I use if you want to give it a spin. I thought it was super fun. So thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope this method helps you as well whenever you get stuck in an art block or something similar. The art book that I mentioned you can download for free in the PDF. It's in the description below. And be sure to subscribe. Each episode comes out each Friday, so I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.